Good afternoon, everybody. So happy to have you in. Just wanted to bring an update on the federal funding for the 2025-2026 school year. White House will release $5.5 billion for schools after the delay. Money that the school systems have pretty much been waiting for hmm, since around the spring. This money actually drops around July 1. So the White House will release $5.5 billion in frozen education funds, administration announced on Friday, bringing an end to a chaotic month for school districts that had counted on that money with just weeks to go before the start of school. But I guess, as they say, better late than never. President Trump had faced growing pressure over the delay from within his own party, including from 10 Senate Republicans who had signed a rare public letter urging the White House to release the funds. Urging the White House to release the funds. Evidently, those 10 Senate Republicans of his own party knew the importance of getting that money into the hands of the school systems. So the Department of Education said that it would begin sending the money to the states next week. Again, the U.S. Department is going to release more than $5 billion in education grant funded to states. And also, the money included more than $2 billion to help train and recruit teachers. So, this is what the different districts use the money for $2 billion to help train and recruit qualified teachers, particularly in low income areas that often have trouble competing for the most qualified teachers. It also included money for arts and music education in low income districts, extra help for children learning English, and support the children of migrant farm workers. Hey, NYC, thank you for stopping by. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't mind, hit the like button if you don't mind. So, we're just talking about money being released here in the United States, money being released. I've shared information on some of the lives about the dismantling of the Department of Education. And school is back up and started now, and they need money. They receive money to help educate the students here at their school. Hey, Z Adams, welcome in, welcome in. So just bringing an update on the funds finally being released to the school system so that the school systems are able to purchase books, purchase programs, purchase supplies, materials, train teachers, schedule PL, and all of those things under that umbrella that goes along with running a school. The money had been put on hold. The school systems didn't know how they were going to operate, how they were going to make ends meet, because they had been told that they would not receive money from the government. So, hey, Galaxy, thank you. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The unexpected delay sent school districts around the entire country, as I just stated, scrounging for lost dollars, unsure when or whether the money might come through. Because initially, around the spring of the no, President Trump was elected, February, March, April or so. It had been said that with the dismantling of the Department of Education, that money would not be released. Good afternoon, Dr. J. How are things this after? Things are going well, Granny B. How are things going your way? Thank you all for joining us. And if you saw the topic that I put in, we're just talking about the White House finally will release $5.5 billion for school after a surprise delay. What had happened, one of the things that a newly elected president ran on was the dismantling of the Department of Education. So it kind of like left schools scrounging as to what they're going to do to get this school year off the ground without the money that they rely on from year to year from the federal government. So the money, what I'm sharing is that the money has been finally released. Granny B says, I am so happy that these funds have been received by school system. Absolutely. And the superintendents, they are elated as well. As I stated earlier, just bringing you all up to date. Some of you all might know about it. Some may not. The U.S. Education Department is releasing money, more than $5 billion in education grant funding to states. The White House, again, the exact amount is like $5.5 billion in frozen education funds. Administration officials announced that on Friday, bringing an end to a chaotic month for school districts that counted on the money with just weeks to go before school start. And a lot of the schools have already started. I'm so happy that the teachers have been received by schools, that these have been okay. Good. I wanted you to follow with school money. So thank you for this update. You are welcome. Thank you for stopping by as well. And also, I stated earlier before you all got here that President Trump had faced growing pressure over the delay from within his own party, including from 10 Senate Republicans who had signed a rare public letter urging the White House to release the funds. They know, evidently, the importance of that money being put into the hands or put into a pot for the functioning of the public school system. So they kind of like, put a little push. Hey, President, the schools need this money. School is about to start. Look, the summer break is over, President Trump. They need this money in order to crank those buses up, turn those air conditions on, get those teachers into those classrooms. So please, 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 please release the money. So I guess he finally heard the money has been approved to be released. The Department of Education said that it would begin sending that money out to the states next week. And some of the things that this money is used for, the money included more than $2 billion to help, like I said, train and recruit teachers, particularly in low-income areas that often have trouble competing for the most qualified teachers. That money is also used. Money is included there to be used for art and music education in our low-income districts, extra help for children learning English, and support for the children of migrant farm workers. So those are just some of the things that money is used for. We'll just go ahead and jump in because I have some questions, discussions for you to ponder over. I had a highlighter. Just something to think, and you can put a pin. We'll put a pin in this. Do you think the reduction in funding will cause students to suffer academically? You all just think about that. Okay. Trump finally released those federal funds for public schools at the last minute. Think about it. School got started pretty much last week, 2 weeks ago in the area where I live. School started. This is August. Teachers went back to work in July. Okay, so it was actually a day or two before school started. Do you think his act was a control act? Do you think him holding on to that money was actually a control act? Or do you think he just didn't know the importance of allowing the money at a certain time to plan for the 2025-2026 school year? That's something else for you to ponder. Remember, you all, I kept reminding you. I started reminding you all of this probably January to May, at least for March, for sure. I know I started reminding you all. I kept reminding you that as the year ends in the spring, like March, April, an administrator is closing out that school year, making plans to open a new year all at the same time. On that left hand, they're trying to close out and get those babies through graduation, honor ceremonies, field day, all of those things. And that right hand, and this is almost an equal balance, they're planning for the next school year. Who do we have to hire? Hiring personnel. What programs are we going to use? Purchasing programs, books, supplies, what kind of PL are we going to have the teachers to go through? All of this is going on at the same time. As I've shared in several of my lives, this is taking place around March or April of every year, not one year, every year. Trump's decision put most, if not all, and I know this is an opinion, I said most, then I said if not all districts in a bad fix or in a mess. Some districts were making plans to tap into their reserve funds in order to be able to open up the school, get those buses moving, as I said, crank up those air conditioning, get those teachers up in there for pre-planning. Some of them had been, from the reading that I had done, they had contemplated going into their reserve money. But the $1 million question is, think about this. What about small and rural districts that do not have access to millions of dollars in reserve funds? What are they going to do? What were they going to do? Those students, they still have to be educated. They still need teachers. Those teachers, can't afford to work for free. They got to be paid. They got to be trained, because guess what? You have older teachers. I won't say older teachers that are at retirement going out, and you have teachers that have just graduated from not high school, but from college coming in. So if they're coming in from just graduated from high school, guess what? From college, guess what? They got to be trained. So in that money that they were waiting for the federal government to release, they got to have PL training. So they could not go on to plan for the 25-26 school year, because they did not know if or when the funds were going to be released. So again, what do they do? What were they to do? Raph, hey Raph. Hey, Dr. J, coming through, showing support. Great topic. Well, thank you. If you don't mind my asking, where are you tuning in from? Where are you tuning in from, Ralph? Thank you so much for, I don't think I've seen you in a, oh, you can just say which country. You don't even have to say the state, just which country. Because I know this might be foreign to, my friends from over on the other part of the world. Okay. So you're familiar. And anyway, I read something about your superintendent over there in Pennsylvania. Also, you all too were affected. Your school districts couldn't get started because they were trying to figure out where the money was going to come from, or if money was going to come in from anywhere. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, US. Okay, glad to have you here, my brother. And something else to think about. Do you think it was, again, I think I asked this just in a different way. Do you think it was a lack of knowledge or lack of experience on President Trump's behalf as to why he decided to freeze the fund? Well, we know part of the reason was the dismantling of the Department of Education. He feels like, and I've shared this in a couple of the lives, that the Department of Education is not producing, he does not like the outcome. I wish I could have dug through my notes to have that right there before me so I could quote his exact words. The outcomes of what public education is producing as far as, I guess, the American citizen. He feels like our students are not being properly prepared. Okay, Rap said, yes, ma'am, I'm new here, but link up with you. Okay, got you. Me 2 times, got you. So glad to have you here. Granny B says, as you might, well, Trump is a narcissist. Okay. He tries to conquer and divide and flex. Look at you. Conquer and divide and flex his muscles to folks to bow down to him. Any tactics that he can use to control. Yes, he knows better. And I can kind of, but think about this, Granny B. What do you think? And I'm going to hit on that a little bit later. Did he really know the importance of it? Well, like you say, he likes to flex as well. Lack of experience. When I said the lack of experience, keep in mind, all of his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, probably nieces and nephews too, attended private schools. They would probably never step foot into a public school. Is he guilty of not knowing? Is this just, like you said, a part of his decision to dismantle the Department of Education? And also, we know when it comes to private school, the sector that he's from, money is thrown into the private schools. Money is probably never an issue. But I agree with your statement as well. Hey, Village. Hey, welcome in. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Rep says definitely the lack of education and wasted funds. Okay. Trump, like all politicians, don't care. Okay. They're out for themselves and their political status. Yes, I can agree with that too. And Raph, I don't know how many of you all would agree with this, and then it's not a Republican or a Democratic thing. What I always say, I need to run for office. Make me a senator, a congresswoman, or something. And look, someone writes the speeches for them. Most of the time, you can write me a speech and I can get up there and fuss and cut the fool and act like I hate somebody, for that 30 minutes to an hour. Then we can go out and eat at Burger King, after the meeting. So it's all kind of like what you said, just for show. And I also read an article too, about the billionaires. How do you all feel? Because that is the spot that we're in now. Billionaires are pretty much making decisions for our public education. And I'm just talking about public education, but you got to think it's the whole United States. But you have billionaires making decisions for our public schools. What are your thoughts about that? That's exactly what's happening, because you got to think billionaires are running the world. So how much do they really care about? I won't even say you, because it's a lot that comes under that umbrella when you think about the things that they are in control of. But today we're just focusing in on education. How much do you think those billionaires actually think about or care about the education of your children? Trump, like all politicians. Okay, I think I read that one. Yes, you're better off doing it yourself. Okay. Granny B says, yes, he is rich, and whether or not extremely rich. Yes, he is rich, and whether or not he wears eye gear. He is rich, and whether or not he wears eye gear. He knows that money make a difference in all situations. Absolutely. And did he have the right? Well, I guess he does. He's the president. But he has to live in this world. Even though you're a billionaire, they got to live in this world like the rest of us. And they're only I don't know the exact maybe about 5%. 5%. Billionaires is a very small percentage of billionaires in the world. So they're outnumbered when it comes to the working class people, for sure. That is for sure. So that is pretty much, in a nutshell, is information out there, but it's a little bit redundant. It's all saying the exact same thing. That the money, yay, yippee for the school systems, the public school system, that the money has finally been released, and they can go ahead and finish or try to, even though it puts them behind a little bit. Someone is probably working on the weekend, which is fine, or working after hours. Now that the money has been released, they can go ahead and make plans for this school term, for this 2025-2026 school year. So I'm sure that they are all excited about that. Okay, Rep says those millionaires don't live off money like we do in society. Exactly, I agree, Dr. J. It's kind of interesting. It really is. It is really kind of interesting. And Ref, that's pretty much what my channel is about. I trend, but I kind of like I'm in a bubble, kind of. I broaden my bubble a little bit. I do trending topics. Most of all of the things that you hear over here will kind of like be pertaining to educational topics, because that's what I know, of course. And I did have three topics that I had been following. I don't know how familiar you are with the Carmelo Anthony case, but that's one that I plan to follow, throughout the year. His trial won't take place, I think, until next year. Shannon, not so sharp. I was following his, but you all know that's over with, because he went ahead and agreed to pay that young lady, that 19-year-old girl, like $23 billion. So that's over. And I'm going to follow, pretty much what goes on, because this is, like I said, one of the topics that our president ran on was to dismantle the Department of Education. So I'm down to two, but pretty much topics, things that's pertaining to education. Those are pretty much the things that I kind of talk about and share. And I do chit and chat with Dr. J as well. When I kind of like need a debreather, need to get rid of some of that depression, that anxiety. That's a way to protect my mental, and to just come out and check up on everybody, and just to see how everybody is doing. I don't give any content on those days. We kind of like just talk a little bit about this and a little bit about that. And those end up being kind of interesting too. I appreciate what you're doing. Glad to be here. Thank you. And I'm so glad to have you here too. Please think this is your first time joining. Don't let it be your last. Now, you make sure you come back and check me out. Every day I try to learn something new. Okay, perfect. Okay, Granny B saying that, Ralph, you are so correct. Hey, Special Ability Learning. Thank you so much, my sister, for stopping by. She's showing love, greetings, and blessing everyone. Thank you for stopping by to check up on a sister. That says, I'm familiar with those stories or reports. Okay, I don't follow the news too much. Can't trust everything they put out. Absolutely, 100 on that. Absolutely. And then it's so much. I just don't think our minds, our brains, that organ is not designed to absorb all of this stuff. I'm telling you, mental illness, mental health is real. It's real. Gratitude and appreciation. Okay, Granny B. Okay, right to say it, Granny B. Gratitude and appreciate you. Okay, perfect. Absolutely, Ralph. You have to filter out. Absolutely, you have to filter it out. And some of the stuff that I know I don't cover, I'm on other channel. Like, no. Auntie, she'll talk about that. No, Marco Unfiltered, she'll talk about that. No, Granny B, she'll talk about that. So, no, some of it, I too, have to filter through. And as they say, I stay in my lane. And as of right now, my lane is pretty much topics pertaining to education. I pretty much try to, keep things up here. Now that school is back in, you'll see a lot of kind of like what goes on in the school. And like I say, topics trending, things that's out there. And I know that Shannon not being so sharp, that was just one that caught my attention. It's not pertaining to education, but he went to a high school almost and picked him out someone to date. So what do you say? And then, of course, that about Camilo Anthony, even though it pertained, it ended sadly in someone being unalive, but they were still students. Keep in mind, even though they graduated, well, one got death, the other one could possibly get life, but they were students when this happened. All of that took place at that track meet over in Texas. So if you think about it, it all meshes together. Okay. What did I miss? I don't want to miss anything randomly. Exactly. Most of it is okay. Let me go back up. Absolute wrath. Okay, you have to filter it out. I read that one. Ref said Granny B. Exactly. Most of it is to keep you afraid and emotional. Exactly. And guess what that end up? Now that's a great point. That's a great point. Most of it is to keep you afraid and emotional. And guess what? If you get too afraid and that's going to start affecting what? What's that M word? Your mental health. We have to protect it. And that's why, like I said earlier, I set aside time. I try to do it weekly, but it just depends on what's going on my end in real life, real time. I try to do a chit and chat at least about once a week, just to check in with everybody. Um, Special ability. Okay, you're listening. Okay, I'm assuming you're doing something else. You're just listening. Have us going. That is great. Just glad that you're here. Emotionally, it can be too much and you will become overloaded. Guess what, Granny B? That goes back to the M word again. That mental part of it, we have to protect it. We have to protect it. And I think I say something about that. And almost all, and I have a video I got to put out too about mental health. Even though we celebrated just one year, 1 month out of a year, I personally feel like it needs to be said, it needs to be talked about. And I think every month of the year needs to be set aside as some aspect of mental health. Can't get my words right. Mental health awareness every month, because there's so much going on in the world right now. Let me see. One is getting away from me, Granny B. What did you say up here? See if I can go back up. Emotionally, it can be too much. Okay, you said you're listening. Special ability, Granny B. Exactly. And it was meant to do that to you, keeping you mentally and emotionally controlled. Absolutely. But it still goes back to that mental health. It will start to affect it if you are not careful. Got to be cautious of that. Got to protect it. We appreciate you sharing energy. Yes, ma'am. And I plan to, and I have for those of you of interest, I do have something that's coming up maybe next week. The next week or so, on, because someone asked for, some requested it on IEPs. So I am going to do something, try to bring some information, some helpful information on IEPs. Appreciate you sharing that. Okay, exactly. Okay, got to protect yourself. Absolutely. They say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Okay. Special ability, I guess you are saying, yeah, that you are doing something else, but you are listening. Okay. I do understand that. I understand. Look, life goes on, and we got houses and homes and families to take care of. So that's why I really have not nailed down an exact time where I can come on. Like I always say, I come out when the coast is clear. I guess that's why it's so important to keep those notification bells on, because when you have other things going on, you just have to kind of fit it in, just make sure you get it in, I guess. Special ability says, I think so too. Mental health is not given. Absolutely. Absolutely. But like I said, I have some stuff I got to put out, some videos. My computer, hopefully they won't keep it in the shop this time, but I have information to share on depression. Let's say depression, anxiety, stress. Those are the three that I plan to. I have information. We won't get into the violence part and all of that, but those are the ones that I plan to share information on. Oh, am I a special needs teacher? Why did you ask that? But whenever I see you, I kind of wondered that about you. I'm not. My sister was a special needs. Do we have any special need teachers up here right now? My sister was a special needs teacher for about 15 years or so, but I'm not. I work closely with them though. I did. I work closely with the special needs, special ability. Do you serve as one special ability learning? Like I said, I've worked closely with the special needs, but I I have worked with them. Yes, okay, you heard me mention IEP. Like I said, I work closely with them, and someone requested that information to share the importance of an IEP or something like that. So I'm coming in to just give basic information, just basic information about it, and I guess entertain. I had actually entertained the question. I had actually thought about inviting uh maybe a special ed teacher or so up to the panel, someone who, it just depends on how deep it gets when I share that information. If questions come up that I don't have an answer to, I do not mind bringing a panel of educators up that can go a little bit deeper in depth to entertaining those questions than I. But no, I do not have a special education degree. I just work very, 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 very close with them. Yes, but I will be sharing information, basic information about IEPs in the upcoming days, maybe in the upcoming days. It will be before, I plan to, if God says the same, do it before this month ends. Absolutely. But my main point, I don't know how much you know, the commentary that I brought today was pretty much, I am a special needs teacher though. Okay, good. Awesome. Look, need be, I can invite you up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. How many years? How many years have you been teaching? But the information, while we wait for special ability to post her answer, if y'all don't mind, please make sure you hit that like button for me. Okay, Granny B says not a special ed teacher, but grandma of an autistic child and very familiar, okay, with the IEP. Awesome. So hopefully you will be able to join me during that live. Like I said, Granny B, I will let you know exactly. But I plan to do it within the upcoming, and now is a good time, I think, because like I said, in my area, in most areas, school has already started. So it might be some information we share that a parent can use. Like you say, Granny B, you're a grandparent. Just information might be something that someone would be able to use, because this time of the year, they go in, they have to update the IEPs. You have your IEP meetings set up and scheduled with the schools. So that's something that I would probably invite you to come on up and help me out. Hopefully, you will be able to attend that. And you too, a special ability. Okay, 8 years. You have 8 years in. All right. Awesome. 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 Great special ability learning. Okay, done. Okay, you said my pleasure. Okay, I'm assuming that you will accept that invite, Granny B. But did anyone, before I end here, I know I asked the question when I shared information about the great news about the money finally being released so that these schools can get the 25-26 school year off the ground. Do you all think the reduction in funding will cause students to suffer academically? How do you think that will affect our students? Your family members, your nieces, nephews. I don't know if you have children in the school system, your grandchildren, your neighbors, just citizens. in the area where you live. Well, I'm referring to the United States. Do you think the reduction in funding will cause students to suffer academically? Okay, Granny B is saying yes. Okay. And like I always say, we either educate them or get them, teach them, get them what they need to be able to survive in the world. We're either going to pay on the front end. This is what I mean. I think, Brandon B, you've been in some of those. This is what I mean. You're either going to pay on the front end, release this fund so that these school systems can have what they need to get those teachers trained, to get the material, put it into the school on the front end, or you're going to pay on the back end, meaning that we are going to, sadly, but it goes for me too, we're going to be paying to house them in a prison, because if they're not equipped, if we don't get them at a point where they can go out on these jobs and work and make an honest living, guess what? They're going to end up robbing. They're going to end up stealing. And you can't say the K word, unaliving people. And guess where they're going to end up at? You already know that P word. That's where they're going to end up at, in somebody's prison. And we'll be taking care of them there. Your tax money will be, a portion of your tax money will be going there to take care of them. So I vote to let's get them ready. Let's pay on the front end. But I was elated to hear when I read the articles a couple of days ago that the money had been released. So it will be, hopefully it will be hitting those accounts to these different districts by the end of the week. That's what I'm hoping for. And guess what? We will have to sit back and wait and see what comes next. But I still did not, if some of you all did, please share it here in the chat. Remember, I ended my last research around, we were still waiting around March, April, May, even June. Remember, President Trump said about 1,315 more jobs was going to be faded away. But I still have not seen or heard where, like I said, that fat was trimmed from. So I don't know if that was kind of put on the back burner, if now those 1,315 more jobs will not be cut. I don't know. I have not heard. Granny B, have you seen it anywhere? What about you, Raph? Okay, Raph is saying greetings, special ability. Okay, let's see. Granny B said, schools need money for teachers, books, support services, and providers, transportation, school security, meals, etc. Yes, they need that money, like I said, to crank those big yellow buses up, or whatever color your buses are in your public school systems. Around here, ours are yellow. To crank up those air conditions. Like I said earlier, you got to get those teachers back in there. You had teachers to go out with the wealth of knowledge that has been trained. Guess what? You got those that's graduating from colleges that knows, I won't say not know anything about teaching, but they got to learn that district's way, if that makes sense. So I said that to say they have to be trained. You got to get them trained. And also for programs like your art and your fine arts, your art and your music, they needed that money. They got to have the money. They got to have it. As I said, the money included more than $2 billion to help train and recruit teachers, particularly in low-income areas that often have trouble competing for the most qualified teachers. It also included money for arts and music education in low-income districts, extra help for children learning English, and support for children of migrant farm workers. And you notice how many times I've said low-income communities. I went to a town hall meeting back in, it was a spring, maybe around April or May. And that's what the senators, the representatives there, they were saying when President Trump initially started talking about, this dismantling or putting more emphasis on this dismantling of the Department of Education. The question they asked, who was going to suffer? Who is going to suffer the most? And of course, that answer, like I said, low income, you heard I've said low income communities about 4 or 5 different times. Those are the ones that will suffer. Those are the ones that will suffer, and they need that money more so. And like I said earlier, a lot of the systems were left scrounging, trying to see, okay, what if this money is not released? What if he actually does what he said he was going to do and not send this money now? What are we going to do to make ends meet? So it left a lot of those systems scrounging, trying to see, oh, do I need to go into my reserve money? But what about those smaller districts that don't have that kind of reserve money? What does that leave them to do? What about the children in those communities? What about them? So, but in a nutshell, I'm just elated, like I just said, that some of his, I think I read 10 of the Republican senators, they wrote a letter, kind of urging him, trying to nudge him on to go ahead, President. Look, they need it. I guess, they didn't forget why they were there to work and be a voice for their constituents. We know that a lot of them have forgotten their real reason for being there, but they did try to urge him to go ahead and release that money since school was starting back, that those districts really, 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 really needed that money. So we're all happy about that. Yep, the unexpected delays sent school districts around the country. It says around the country, scrounging for the lost dollars, unsure when or whether the money might come through. So that's kind of interesting. But we're glad that we have that part behind us. Let me check and see what we have here. Right to the chat. Okay, Granny B, greetings and appreciate you. Okay, that's from Ralph. Okay, hello, Ralph. Okay, Special Ability showing some love. Special Ability, I'm doing all right. I hope you're doing well yourself. In Nigeria, teachers, they are unpaid. Oh, wow. So do you work part-time? I know one of my Nigerian friend over there, she said she was a part-time teacher. They are unpaid. Wow. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. In Nigeria, teachers are unpaid. So what do you all do, Special Ability? Do you just volunteer? You volunteer your time to teach? I am doing okay, Ralph. Blessings. Okay, great session, Dr. J. Okay, I got to get some. Thank you so much. And look, please check me out again. Check me out again. Thank you so much for stopping by. You got to be ready for work tonight. I'll definitely be. Thank you. I appreciate these conversations. Let me ask before you go. Do you have school age children, Ralph? Do you have grandchildren? Or what's that status? And I'm going to get ready to end anyway. Like I said, normally I do. I'll probably be up here till about another 15, maybe 15, 16 minutes. Do you have children in the school system over in Philadelphia or some part of the country? Well, if not nieces, nephew, you have cousins. Special Ability. Oh, you say underpaid. Okay, gotcha. I was about to say. Okay, you're underpaid. And it's kind of like that way. That might be just a way of life for educators, Special Ability, because that's one of the biggest, I won't say complaint. That's one of the issues or topics of discussions in the United States as well. They just don't value what educators do. You're underpaid. Yes, I agree. We hear that a lot over our way as well. I mean, underpaid. Okay, Greta B says, nice of you to join, Dr. J. Okay. Hey, Nightbox. Hey, Rock. Hey there. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. We're just sharing, just talking about, I think, Rock, we're just talking about money being released that the White House just released, like $5.5 billion for schools, because with the dismantling of the Department of Education, President Trump just feels like it's pretty much useless. And he initially said that the money will not be released. So that most schools I know around my area, a lot of them went back to school. They've been in school for about 2 weeks or so, but it was without money. They didn't have the money that they normally receive from the federal government. So it left a lot of the districts scrounging, trying to see what are they going to do, to be able to pull off school for this school term, the 2025-2026 school year. And he finally, pretty much last week, the money has been released. So hopefully it will be deposited into the pots, into the accounts for the schools, hopefully by the latter part of this week. So that's pretty much what we are discussing. We are happy. We were happy to hear that information. And that's one of the topics that I am following here on my channel. I do appreciate you stopping by so very, very much. Granny B says, I have ties to Nigeria, okay? And I know the financial challenges for teachers and government employees. Just in Nigeria, it's a it's a financial challenge over in the States as well. Because that's one of the cry, we have over here in the United States as well. Teachers, state employees being underpaid, overworked. For some reason, do you want to shut up? Absolutely. So, and that's pretty much everybody what I wanted to share today. And like I said, there's not a whole lot for me to come back and talk about Shannon Sharp or Shannon Not So Sharp, because he went ahead, and gave in and agreed to pay the 19-year-old mistress, or whatever he calls his girlfriend or female friend, whatever she is, his lover, whatever. I think it was like $23 million, I guess, to settle out of court. So I guess that's the end of that. He has set her up for life. Yep, set her up for life. If she knows how to handle money, she's good for life. That's a lot of money. A lot of his money that he's ran up and down that football field being tortured and hit, and injuries and brain injuries and broken up bones and all of the above that goes along with being a professional football NFL player. Yep, $23 million is what he has agreed to. But we still have another one out there that I follow. It's the Carmelo Anthony's case. That's one that I will be keeping watch on and sharing information. But otherwise, it will be strictly topics on what's going on in the education arena. And I'll have some, since school is back in, I get a chance to bring some real live things that's going on, just to keep everybody up to date of some of the things that's going on. So that's pretty much all that I have here. What's her name? Special Ability, are you working today? Are you in the schools today? Okay. All right. So that is pretty much all that I have to share, ladies and gents. That is pretty much it. So I am going to get ready to end, and we might come back on to see what else I have in my stack. I might be back through again maybe around Friday. Not tomorrow, I don't guess, unless we just do a quick chit chat. But maybe at least by Friday or Saturday if I don't come back tomorrow. Sir was on a call back now. I forgot what I asked. Special ability. So are you all back in school now, special ability? I think that's what I asked you, something about school. I forgot what I asked. I think that's what I asked. I can't remember. We on a holiday. Okay. Okay. You're on a holiday. Okay. Gotcha. 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 Okay. Well, our students are back in school now, getting ready to enter into that fall semester. And of course, it'll be fall here next month, around September 22nd, I think. I enjoyed what you presented. Yes, hopefully. I don't know if you follow this, Granny B, but like I said, this is what I know. So education, these type topics, I kind of like keep watch on. Some I'll come out and share. It just depends, if it's something that really grabs my attention and I feel like, okay, others need to hear about this. They could probably benefit from this. I bring it out and I share it, but it's kind of like in a nutshell what my topics pretty much pertain to. Okay, you're on summer break. Okay, and we're just coming off a summer break. Summer break has ended. I think almost everybody in my area is back in school. I think everybody's back in school starting this week because the students started going back in my area last week, maybe a week before last, because most the teachers around here reported back to work like I don't have my calendar, like the third week in July. Most of them started back in school around July, maybe that week of the 12th, something like that, about the third week of July. And then I think the students started going back. Some students have probably been in school about 2 weeks. So I think everybody now, all the districts are back in school. Brenda B, I wish our government can do better. Oh, wow. Brenda B, I wish our government can do better. I think that's a wish a lot of folks have. Special ability, you're not alone there. You are not alone. Okay, your kids go back at the end of this month. Okay, North Carolina. I know some of the states where they get a lot of snow. You have a few that will actually return back to school like after Labor Day. I was never that fortunate to go back to school after Labor Day, but we still didn't go back in July. Even when I attended school, we always got out like maybe like May 25th, the end of May 25th, 26th, and we never went back until like the end of August, around like August 28th. So, and I guess now the students, teachers, they really don't have a summer. I guess because they have so many breaks throughout the year. And, I'm just speaking on behalf. I totally understand, because it gets tiring and you need that rejuvenation time. Our kids go back at the end of this month in North Carolina. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you grew up in New York, Rock? Went back in, yes, September. Yes. And I think from what I read somewhere, those states where it snows. So I guess with those snow days and that snow being so heavy, they have to be out of school a lot. So I guess, they make up that seat time that way. Granny B says, special ability. Let's keep praying for your country and the USA. Absolutely. That's what I said earlier. It's not just your country, so don't feel alone. A lot of us are feeling the wrath around the world. Special ability. So, I mean, at this point, when we pray, we have to pray for the whole world. Oh, yep. I'm from the Bronx. Gotcha. The Bronx. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. We need those praying hands, don't we? Because we all need it. Kind of like I say about mental health, does not just affect just one part of the world, one city, one country, one community. Mental health, I tell you, it affects us all. Some of these things were just in different location, but deal with some of the exact same problems. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, ladies, once again, I thank you all so very, very, very kindly for stopping by, for sliding up in here. You're always welcome. So thank you for stopping by to chat with Dr. J. And that's the information that I wanted to share today. And unless something, pops off, something comes up, if I find it comes out, I'll come back and share it. But I like to, for mental reason, do those chit and chat to get away from this kind of stuff. So much going on in the world, it's kind of hard to keep up with all of it. And then if you do try to keep up with it all, I don't care who you are. I just don't care. It will affect that mental if you are not careful. So we have to just step away from some of this from time to time and see about self. Do some self-care. If it's nothing but just shutting it all down, closing your eyes to it for a minute, do a little meditation from time to time. But that's where we are. Hey, Jules Cal. Hey, what's going on with you, my dear? Thank you so much for popping in. What a surprise. Surprise, surprise. How's Mr. JJ? Is he sleeping? Jules, she has the cutest little boy. He's a fine baby. Greetings, everyone, says Jules. So glad you stopped by. I'm finishing up, actually. Share, okay. Cold weather. Send some of that over my way. Cold weather, raining. It has been raining a little bit here. Stepped outside yesterday. I'm like, man, it feels like fall here. But send some of that cold weather over here. Just box it up and send it to me. Okay, you're being busy all day. Yes, it's been kind of busy here. I had to meet a friend early this morning, and I need to be trying to get a little cleaning done. What time is it? I got to go and pick my two little great nieces up out of school. I think my niece has an appointment or something. So it has been busy here as well. Surely has. But thank you so much for stopping by. I just shared some information that's going on, but you're over in the USA about school starting back and money being released to make sure that the school districts have the money and are able to do what they need to do to get the 2025-2026 school year off the ground. That's pretty much what we talked about today. So we were all elated that our wonderful President Trump decided to release that money so that our boys and girls can have what they need. Like I always say, we're either going to pay on the front end. I guess he released it so we're paying on the front end so we don't have to pay on the back end with them not being prepared for the world. I was about, Jules said, was about going live now and said, let me move around, and boom. Look at what you found, huh? I said, let me spend some time before leaving. Absolutely. And I'll be over to spend some time with you as well. Jules, okay. Hello, Granny B. Okay, showing some love to Granny B. I will be over your way. I have my phone on the charger now. I think my tablet is charged. So okay, thank you for stopping by. And like I said, I'm done. I'm almost done my hour. I think I got up here at like one about 12:10. So that's cool, Dr. J. It will create more room for the younger generations to be serious. Okay, that's cool, Dr. J. It would create more room for the younger generation. Okay, help me understand that, Jules. You said that's cool. It would create more room for the younger generations to be serious. Okay. That's pertaining to paying on the front end for the children to be educated. That's what I with regards to the school stuff. Okay. Got you. Got you. Got you. Absolutely. Gotta do what we look, gotta do what we gotta do to get them prepared for the world. Got to, because we want them to grow up to be productive citizens. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, once again, ladies, Dr. J appreciates each of you for sliding up in here, spending some time with me. Gigi Truth Speaker. Hey, Gigi. Look times to get real hard. If you got your grannies and mothers, talk to them, because it's about to go down. We are going to have to move in with each other just to make it. Get ready. In the name of Jesus, and the Lord just going to have to just take control, Gigi Truth Speaker. Lord have mercy. That's all I can say. Look times to get real hard. If you got your grannies and mother, talk to them. It's about to go down. We're going to have to move in with each other just to make it. Get ready. Lord have mercy is all I can say. I know sometimes that's all we have to say. Lord have mercy. We know he can fix it. We know he can, if he will. Jewel said, sure. Education is power. Absolutely. 100. Education is power. So we got to invest and pay, and I'm glad that our wonderful president decided to release those funds so that these school systems can have what they need to get our children and teachers what they need. Get them trained, buy materials, get the supplies that they need. I'm just so glad it's there. Money that is needed to operate a school from year to year. He can, Queen, but faith without work is dead. Amen to that. Faith without work is dead. Amen to that. Amen, amen, amen. Jules Castle, hands yellow, hearts red, hands yellow, hearts red. Okay. Pillow turquoise, hot chocolate, pillow turquoise, hot chocolate. Okay. Jules, what is this? This is a, okay. GTG. Okay, help me with that acronym now. Y'all help me. GTG. What does that mean, Jules? GTG. These acronyms get me. We have so many out there. Unity is the only way. I'm 62. It's time, y'all. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Gigi, do you have a site? I never seen you up here before. This and this is truth that you're speaking. Unity is the only way. You're 62. Okay, got to go. Okay, that's a new one. Are you going live now? I'll be over. I'll be over because like I said, I'm fixing to get off. My hour is up. I think like I said, I either got on at 12:05 or 12:10. Got to go. Okay, that's a new one. GTG. I would have never figured that out though. Unity is the only way. I'm 62. It's time, y'all. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll be over. I already have my plane ticket. Flying in with, is it Delta or Southwest? I'm coming your way though. I'm flying over to Nigeria. I'll see you real soon. Jules. Okay, I'm on here, hon. Okay, what I'm about supporting. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Yes, I have my flight. I'm headed out. My bags are ready. Headed to the airport. I'm headed to Nigeria. Like I said, my ticket, I think we booked the ticket either with Southwest or I don't think it's with Spirit. It's either Delta or Southwest. We'll see you soon. Thank you. I appreciate that, Gigi. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see you back. We'll be waiting to receive you at the airport. Okay. Thank you. So I don't have to get an Uber. No Uber driver, no taxi cab. Thank you. I'll be arriving soon. We must band together. Absolutely, Granny B. Absolutely. I agree. Some scary times ahead, but we gotta, like you said, prepare. Most importantly, we got to pray. We got to have that. Not a whole lot, just the size of a mustard seed. Last time I checked, a mustard seed was not that huge. You will, Queen. You will. Absolutely. But thanks again for stopping by. And like I said, when you see the light on, y'all, please, I know this was your first time, Gigi. So come back and visit with me again. Have a nice afternoon, everyone. Granny B, you're going live a little bit later? Okay, sorry, chat. Where's my manners? Hey, y'all. Okay. Hey. Gigi, sending out love to everybody. So, but this is all, like I said, this is all that I have to share. Just an update, President Trump. Something else comes out, I'll be back. If not, I'll probably be back on, for sure, maybe the latter part of the week, Friday, Saturday, something like that. I guess maybe Friday, Saturday, something like that. And if I don't have a commentary to bring up, we'll just do a chit chat, just to check in with everybody. Thank you all so much. Rock, if you're still in here, thank you so much for stopping by as well. And I'm going to go ahead and end the live for now. Oh, Gigi. Okay, I read that one. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Sorry, check for my manners. And if you don't mind, please, if you have not hit that like button, subscribe if you have not. Hey, chick. Hey there. Hey, Dr. J in chat. I missed it. Yes, ma'am. We are just ending up. Just share information with President Trump, releasing that money for the 2025-2026 school year. So we're all elated about that. We are all so elated. They say better late than never, right, chick? Better late than never. So he released it. Left some of the school districts scrounging, trying to see what they were going to do to get the year off the ground. So he came through at the last minute. So we're all happy about that. Some of the school systems actually thought they were going to have to go into their reserve money. But I had shared earlier, what about those smaller districts? We do have smaller districts around that don't have those millions and millions of dollars set into a reserve, for emergency. So it came through at the last minute. So we were happy about that. But all right, gang, once again, thank you everybody for stopping by. And hopefully you will continue to have a wonderful Wednesday. If that Wednesday has not been wonderful, hopefully it will become wonderful really, really, really soon. So again, that's all I have for now. Thanks again to each of you for showing me some support and love. And we shall chat later. Bye for now.